Bueno, bienvenidos a todos. Welcome everyone. We're very happy to be today with Rocío Cerón, a poet and experimental poet artist from Mexico. She also organizes a lot of activities, publications, etc. She's been very active. Uh, I don't know when was your first book, maybe at the end of the 90s or beginning of 2000, but
Oh,
you've
no.
been publishing, organizing activities, and also, and that is why we invited you. You have been working with sound poetry and also along with other musicians from a very long time, and you have always been thinking and practicing different ways of poetry mixed with other artistic disciplines or other disciplines in general. So welcome, Rocío, and welcome everyone that's here today. And we can start the conversation. As I told you before, we usually focus on the work of our guest, and then we can talk about whatever we like around poetry, sound, and all the things that interest us. Rocío, just to start, I wanted to ask you, how have you been working in your different projects, creative projects, academic or pedagogical projects during these weeks with the confinement?
Well, the first question you asked me was about my first book. My first book was 2002, so 2002.
Okay.
So it wasn't on the 90s, because on the 90s I was more doing things with performance.
Oh, really?
Before writing,
Okay.
I started making performance on the 90s, 94, 95, and usually use the voice.
Okay.
One of the things I used at that time in the performance at the 90s was the voice. Mm-hmm. And then I figured out that I was writing and that I was making all these fragments were like a body of something else, and someone told me that I was making poetry. Mm-hmm. So for me, it was like the voice, my first material, for working on the body. And then I was writing some things, and I used that as a part of the performance, but not at the first, dispositives part of the work for making a piece. So that was the first things I make. I make performatic things and performance. And then on these weeks, we have here in Mexico, we have like 3 months. Since the 17th of March, I don't know in Chile or of course in Europe.
A couple of days before it started, like 15th of March, I think.
Yes, so it was like the 18th, I suppose, the 17th or 18th of March, that everyone was supposed to be in their houses, in the confinement. So I curate a cycle of sound that is called La Habitación del Ruido. And La Habitación del Ruido, the room of noise, or the noise room, is a very, very traditional, like sound experimental sessions that we make on the University of El Claustro, which is the place I work. And I start trying to do something with that in that space, on the digital space and platforms. But for the university was very difficult. So I suppose that I think, what can we do? And I don't do a cycle by myself in my house, but I start making these bifrontes diálogos bifrontes, that it means like two heads dialogues. And it's a way of trying to put people that make transdisciplinary works, not only with sound, like sound, visual, and performatic and poetry, and also art critics, to talk about the way they were living this confinement, and also to work or to do something together. And that was one of the things. And the other thing, that I will start making more performatic things on the platforms, on Zoom, on Instagram, no, and making workshops.
Yeah.
Like I suppose a lot of you are making classes now on your the platforms.
Yeah.
So one of the questions that I was a very one of the questions that a lot of people they were asking on the Bifronte diálogos, on the diálogos bifrontes, these two heads dialogues, and on the workshops were, what happened with my body to the body of the other one that it's in the other side of the screen, no? And I think I have been making performance for these 3 months, like, I don't know, like 10, with improvisation, with sound, with other artists, with musicians. And I think that it's always you are a Sherezada. You're always like trying to keep your head on, not to keep your head on your body. So for me, it's, I don't know, it's like the energy is different because I try to really deliver my energy as like in a performance alive. I don't know if the other, it's really like feeling that energy on the way I'm trying to make to the others. But I, for myself, and I think all the people that we make some performance with a live music and sound and poetry and everything, the other side, like the other bodies that give you in a very vampiric energy, you know, that you're like a transfusion of energy between the performer and the other, it's closed. So, I mean, you can give a lot of energy, and maybe with the voice and the sound and the performance, you can touch the other ones in the other screen, in the other side of the screen, but you will not receive.
Yeah.
Anyway, the energy you feel when you're performing alive. No? So, and I have been talking a lot also with dancers and choreographers, and it's something that they are really having a very bad time now because they work with the body, and we can do like performance and read poems. Well, myself, I can read poems, or I can do these experimental sessions with sound, or I can do like an improvisation with another sound artist, no, in his studio and me on my studio, and we can work with that. But the thing here is how we are going to work from here to the future, how we are going to be this, how we are going to use these hybrid platforms, not like the body in the presential ways, on the performance alive, and the other ones on the platforms. And I would love to do something holographic. I mean, you can now in the university, in the Tech University here in Mexico, you can give a conference and you will have an holographic also, your holographic you on the other universities making the conference at the same time. So I don't know, maybe we have to keep looking how to perform in different continents or platforms. And for me, it's also a question about the ways we are writing or we are creating poetry, or the ways we are creating language. No, language as not only textual language. I mean, all the language, no, sound language, body language. How we are making this language, and how the people it's connecting to different kind of simultaneous also like pieces, no? They're hearing something, looking to something else, reading something, and they're like very in a different kind of a lot of signs, no? Of signs and symbols at the same time. So what we are doing as artists with that's my question for these 3 months, mostly 4, of confinement.
Yeah, and you talk about holograms and also virtual reality, you know, like with the how would say the sunglasses, like seeing you like after like an X-ray performance or different kind of things. But what do you think? You know, because when I see you like talking about your work, that is a magnific work, like full of music, sound, text, organization of events. You are like in the poetry, you make it in all levels, like singular, collective. You play with some musicians, you play with some performers, and but now when I see you like talking about that without reading a text, I feel a difference. I feel, and make me think about myself when I read a text, that I never read the text. I just like trying to communicate beyond the things that I wrote. How do you feel now, like without a text in front of you, just like talking? Do you feel any difference?
Well, I think, I don't know, some people, when they read the book first and they come to a performance and they listen that it's not exactly the way it's written, or no, in the book, they ask me sometimes that, what do I feel? O sea, why you're not reading the book, the poem exactly as is in the book published? And I say, well, because the thing is that the book, it has like a materiality, you know, a way of being the poem there, and there in the way it has to be on the page. But when I make performatic readings or performance, I think the most important thing for me in that moment is not to read exactly the poem, is to like disarticulate the poem. It's like to make an atomization of the poem, so you can really get like these little fragments, no, these little atoms all around you, and in the sound, in the view, in all the experience of the performance, and you can see like the heart, like the heartbeat of the poem there. And maybe it's only sound, and maybe it's only voice, without saying a phrase or a verse or even a word. It's only like the like the guttural voice, or only like the sound of your respiration, of your breathing. Uh, but it's the intention. I think you work the body when you are you're writing a poem and you understand what is the things that you are putting there. I think you can do, for me it's like that, no? It's like you work on layers. I work on layers. So the poem has like all that 1,000 layers there. When I use another platform, or I use only the voice, or I am working with image, or I'm working with another artist, I just think I open the first question and the last question of that book, and I open like the Pandora box, my Pandora box, for that poem or for that book. And all of that melange of things, of sounds, of image, of emotions that are on the book, on the poems, start opening, no, in a performative way. And I think it's the same. For me, it's the same. I mean, you can read it, the poem, and then you can hear, experiment sensoperceptual way, in a sensoperceptual way, the poem alive with the performer. And I think for me, it's like opening different kind of layers of the poem. And you can only read the poem, or you can come and listen to the performance. And both experience will have, I suppose, will have like different kinds of experience for the spectator, for the, no, for the viewer, but in the mainly heart of the experience, I think you will have the same. You will have the same emotion, the same fear, the same hate, the same love, the same, I don't know, what is on the poem, you will have it. And I love improvisation. More and more I write, and I just see the poem like, okay, well, ciao, o sea, bye, no? O sea, it's for me like, I know what is happening there on that word. It's like you're in the universe of the book, of the poem. Yeah. So you can just go inside, swim, and go out with that, with the breathing and with the voice, and bring to the viewer, or to the people, not to the public, the things, that all the water that is there. Yeah, the little drop, from a little drop to all the ocean of what is there.
Yeah, I remember we share a lot about that idea of like take the text of preparing like a performance, like writing really like a Apollinian style to organize things, and the moment just before to go to stage, forget it and go into the Dionysius dimension. And at the same time, I want to, because you organize a lot of wonderful things. You invite me, Felipe, and also people from here, like invite us to Mexico for wonderful collective performance in wonderful places. How you feel the connection between your own work, your personal work, and that idea of organized festivals or I don't know, curating things for inviting inviting another people, because I think in some poetry we have that kind of power, the organized things and making things and that kind of link between us. That it's another kind of poetry in a way. Do you have something to say about it?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think as you or Felipe or all of us that we are making festivals or cycles or parties or whatever for making these places to show the work of others, it's like the way I think it's an editor. An editor is a generous reader, and I think the one like us that we make this programmation, that we make or that we curate these kind of festivals and cycles and sessions. It's like a very generous reader too, no? As a reader, as a sound reader, as someone that is looking all around, and you are really for me is that I really want that others hear and listen and see the work of the people I admire. So when I make Enclave, I am the director of a festival, a transdisciplinary festival called Enclave, which has 10 years now. And we always invite like sound artists, visual artists, poets, or people that are working on transdisciplinary ways. And I think it's something that is really important for me. So if I like someone, I will try and I will make my best for bring it to Mexico, so people that are interested on poetry, sound experimentation, experimental poetry can know in a live session that artist. For me, it's very important, as it's important also to make the formation of poets, so to put to the other poets, to the young poets, different artists and make these workshops. I have been making workshops all since, I don't know, 12 or 13 years ago. And it's the same. I love to make workshops. I hate sometimes also to make workshops or to teach. But for me, teaching and organizing these kind of festivals or sessions is exactly the same. It's like the way that I admire someone or I like the work of someone. So I want that others here and now in the digital platforms in everywhere can find these artists too. And so I also have been an editor. I've been publishing Latin American poetry for 7 years in El Villar de Lucrecia. And I have produced 2 CDs with electroacoustic music and experimental electronic music on the 203 and 206 with Bishop and with Manuel Rocha and Antonio Fernandez Ros, which they are very known in the electroacoustic and experimental music in Mexico. And I think it's something that I will always do. I will always be very active in my own production and in my own pieces, but also I will be very, well, I hope so, very energetic to making these festivals and these sessions so the young people can know the work of others that I think that they deserve to be known in Mexico, in the world.
Yeah, that's wonderful when you make that, because you like a right to transmit and be generous with the thing that you admire, you invite and you share with the people that around in Mexico. And I don't know, but Mexico had all the people that visit Mexico, they have that kind of energy, incredible, that mix of technology and nature, savage actions. I don't know, it's really like intense. what are you planning for the next world after? We know the people now talk about the new normality. So I don't like the word
I
normality.
hate it too.
Yeah,
I hate it too.
I think normality is our enemy in a way.
Yeah.
But what do you think about next?
I think, bueno, for me, when they say the performance will only have 50 people, and I say, well, if you're on this kind of on marginal poetry experimental sessions in Mexico, you will have 50, 60 most not of people on your shows. So for me, when they say that, it's like, well, that's normal. So that's not the new normality. I hate when they talk about the new normality, because it's the way that they are saying that we are more como recluidos, more in a reclusion. I don't know if that's the word exactly in English, but more like in a cage, no? And I think subversion, for me, the word in this moment is subversion. How can we make subversion on these kind of times, no? With the pandemia and with this, the COVID-19 and all of that. And I think it's to getting bodies closer. So how do you can put your body close to another, and how can we meet, and how can we work together, and how can we be collaborative? So for me, collaborative work and making possible this kind of presential spaces, it's important, but also making presential and digital performance, no? So you can do like this. For me, it's very hybrid, no, that we are going to work on that. How to can you can be on the presential, digital, and how also you can play with science. For me, it's very important, science. I have a piece called Medium, which we make on the Modern Art Museum with Abraham Chabelas, and we made it like 4 years ago, and it's about, for me, it's about neurology, no, like the connections of the language on the brain. And for me, neurology and neuroscience and art and poetry with neuroscience, it's important. So I don't know, like that subversion, science and the spaces, it's important for me. And also trying to keep people together, no? How can you put like 50 people on the same room, and how you can also bring people to perform, not because the budgets are there. I mean, sometimes you say, well, there's no budget for bringing some artists, but I think now it's very important that those budgets don't disappear, and the artists can travel again and go and perform. It doesn't matter to 50 people, but go and perform for 50 people. And you know that because, I don't know, Felipe and Martin have been here in Mexico for Enclave, and we usually have 50 people only on the like the closure of the performative festival, were like 300 people or 250 people, no? But you can have like this performative presence, and then the digital ones, no? And also, I don't know, like sound also, it's traveling so fast. I mean, there are so many festivals, so many broadcasts, so many spaces to put your sound, your sound, whatever, you know, so paisaje sonoro, your sound pieces, your sound horizons, your sound everything. So for me, it's a very interesting time to live and to produce art.
And
And
what
if
about
we,
the? Oh, sorry.
go
What
on.
about the possibilities of this new media? Because we, like you talked at the beginning, like the first thing, you know, when you can go out and perform in other places is all that you lose. Of course, it's obvious, but there are also some possibilities. I mean, playing in our house is not the best space. There are no lights or whatever. But I was thinking when I heard your last improvisation that, I don't know, for example, now's the possibility that people can use their headphones to hear you and maybe notice a lot of details that in a big place they shouldn't notice. are you thinking about those kind of possibilities?
Yes, one of the things is that I made a performance called Persona for Bikini Wax Gallery like 2-3 years ago. That was a performance, all the performance and all the piece was just for one people, for one person. No? So I love that pieces. I love that pieces and I love that kind of experience too. So when we are talking about the best light, the best sound, also people can use their headphones and listen to the piece better than if they were in a bar.
Yeah, for example.
No? Better if they were in a bar. Of course, the energy that you have with the performer on a bar or in the improvisation sessions that we have here, like in a place called Terraza Monstruo, that was a great space, very underground, on the top of a building in downtown Mexico. That it was a great space. They have great sound, no, in a very strange place in downtown Mexico City. And I think that's also important, no, to have that experience. Sometimes you are looking, I don't know, like Germán Bringas, that it's a very well known musician of jazz, making improvisation with other guys, and we were only like 10, no, 10 in the public, and with a beer, no. So maybe that is one kind of experience, and then the other kind of experience is when you're in your house with your headphones, in your bed or in your hall, and you're listening to a performance live, and it's like the book, no? When you're reading, you have an experience, one vis-a-vis, no? Exactly. So when you are performing for that person, for myself, when we do this performance, and it was great because this girl, everything, all the energy was for her only, no? And I think that kind of experience is something that we have to do. So as one person, as thousands, no? This year I was invited on the Medellin Festival of Poetry on Colombia. And that's one of the most important festivals for the poets, because they have like thousands of people, no? I don't know, 3,000 people listen to you. It's like you, if you go like a football championship, no? For the poets. So for me it was great. I said, wow, that's great, because I will perform with this so large public. And now they're going to make the festival only digital, because they cannot make it on presential form. So I say, well, it's very paradoxical, because in this moment, I think that short or small audience are great, and that will happen on the next years. We will have a small audience on places, and maybe people will go to really listen, to really go and listen with attention more than other times, because in other times you can have like, yes, I'm on this concert, and I can see the same artist because I've also is my friend 2 weeks later, no? And now no, you can go and listen, and you have to really get your attention and your time and maybe you cannot go because there are only 50 places, no? So for me, it's important for that. And we have to work out different kind of so for me, I will do, and I have been going out sometimes to making some programs, no? With all our distance and everything. But we have to notice that this is something, the pandemic will not get over like in 2 months. It will be there. The virus will be there always. And if it's not this virus, in 4 or 5 years will be another virus. So the thing is, what we are going to do with this. So for me, it's like, okay, I'm going to perform for 10 people on a great stage. And I am asking this because on La Habitación del Ruido, on this cycle that I'm curating for the claustro, we have a huge, Martin knows the place, and we have a huge, amazing hall for perform with great sound, amazing.
One of the best acoustic in the world.
Yes, it's one of the best places for perform there, okay, in Mexico City. So what we're going to do? Well, maybe we're going to invite, 50 people or 25, and they will be the only ones that see that performance, and the other ones will have to see it and hear it by internet.
Mm.
That I think that will happen, and maybe we can also make something. That's my super dream. Make something on nature, or maybe on the woods. No, maybe we. Also, I love to do that, to perform in other places that they're not only the studio, or there is not only like the super hall with the super sound, and do like these encapsulate places for perform and show to in digital ways, and go take your pack and go again to your house. No, because in the middle of the nature, you cannot have, you will not get sick, and you will not also, if you're sick, you will not get take the flu or the COVID-19 to anyone. No.
Well, I would be happy to play to before, I don't know, 10 people, because my record is to have played in front of 2 people. The organizer and a friend of him that was passing by, and he obliged to, you have to hear this. So, well, that's great. And yeah, and another thing I was thinking, and after this, I mean, all of you can ask or comment, whatever you like. I was thinking that usually we have this idea that the performance is like the work, and if someone records it, is like an after product of that. But now, when we are playing or improvising in our houses, it's like at the same time you are recording and performing. It's not like a division as it used to be. So it's different. Also, in your house, you can control more the sound. I mean, you can edit live and all that. So it's interesting to see all this difference. And I totally agree. It's wonderful to have the opportunity to play in very different places, in very different kind of audiences, and with the good monitors, or with bad sound. I mean, you always learn also of trying your stuff in different places. I don't know, Martin, if you want to ask something more.
Yeah, no, just to join that idea is like, I don't know if did you see that Barcelona Opera new concert for plants.
Yeah.
Only for trees or for plants and
El Liceu, creo que.
Yeah, of course. And I don't know if you remember, Felipe, but I used to like train myself a lot before, like to make concept for invisible people, you know. I put some chairs and some things around me, and just making concept for no visible things. Maybe we can create a concept for the virus.
Yeah.
All together, like a sound poem for together for coronavirus. Visible, like we put like some what is the name of that kind of Corona style spark? I don't know what is the name of like that angle that they have in the, you know, to connect to the cells. Yeah. Que las antenas, ¿cómo se llaman esas? Son, it's a name, you know, like that is why the people who smoke, they are protected against coronavirus, because they're already they're already occupied, you know, they're already contaminated with other things. Then I don't know, but I think we like some poets, like Rocío, with that kind of connection between the like own work and the collective work. It's so fantastic, and if we can like propose to like at the place of vaccination or antibiotics or something like that, just poetry to virus.
That's a good idea. Eh? That's a good idea, because it's called, well, in English you can say like the antenna or filler or dish, no, with these reflections. But we are doing that. I mean, when you have a Zoom and you have someone on Thailand and someone on France and someone on China and someone on Chile and someone on Mexico, and if we can do that performatic, like with on and off and on and off and then all together. So for me, it's like the new symphony of this 21st century, no? Like these sound artists, these poets experimenting their sounds on different ways from like, no? And at the same time, simultaneously, and making something that it's processual, something that I love of the improvisation, and I love of record these kind of things without editing, so without making edition and changing the sound and putting the agudos or graves, not like the more neat things. It's that you can feel the processual intention of the artist on these sessions. So everything is making alive. So if there is an error or something like that, it will form part of the piece, and I love that. I think I like that kind of things.
Yeah, but do you know
After
that,
you can make the decision, no?
but you know that in the pre-Pythagorean philosopher poets, they earned their life like healing cities or healing countries, you know, Empedocles or Anaxagoras or they what is the other guy, and a lot of them, they was calling for from the city to heal a kind of virus or pest or something that is into the city, and they realize a new kind of creation, you know, like Empedocles, he healed Atenas. He discovered that the river was completely full of strange things. At the time, they didn't know about bacteria or virus, and he said you will have to just like to devise and make more affluence from that river, then can devise that kind of things and put a totem in the hill of the mountain with the image of the people that have about it, you know. And then maybe I think we are like really that kind of invisible things, like Anaxagoras call it nous, you know, that kind of intelligent presence all around and inside of us. I think we, like poets, we are absolutely asked to propose something. Like language, you know, language. I'm absolutely sure language is a virus, and then we make things with language, and now we have another kind of language.
I was looking for.
I don't agree with me, you know.
I forgot the name. You know this guy. You know, well, not this guy. I mean, this poet. I've been working with memory. I love the idea of memory, and I think that we are like these dish or these antennas or fillers. No fillers. I like that when I put the translation for antenna, and the Google Translator gave me this kind of filler, not the filler that is made, the one that feels and that makes it that you can see and make these like tentacles, not that you're seeing the reality. I think poets, we are doing that. Artists in general, no, but poets, artists, we're doing that. And there is this guy which I love, and I have forgotten the name. I think it's Salmonides, the poet that was on Greece,
Salmonides the
no,
third.
the father of memory, that he remembers where were the places that were sitting on the dinner when the house. Simonides, exactly.
Simonides.
Simonides, exactly. So for me, we are a little bit of Simonides in this moment because when the real pandemic crashed all the world, there will be something on the, as Martin Gomez said, on the artificial memory, and also on the memory of the human, and also on the memory of the writing, and the memory of the buildings, and the architecture, and the memory of the sounds of an age, that we will be there. We will be putting our readings, our feelers, the way we feel this moment of the world, of the history of the world, and it will be very important. And it's not to talk about the COVID-19, because some people said, why you don't write a poem about COVID-19? I don't think it's that. It's more like the feeling of transitority or fear, no? Or not knowing what will happen tomorrow, or not knowing, or making this kind of small bubble, no? For me, it's so, I am so impressive. It's for me so impressive to have 28,000 people dead in Mexico for COVID-19, and I say, for me, so many people, no? And I saw people like going out to the streets and making things because they want to be on the life and survive, and they suppose, when I don't know, in Mexico we think that anyone would get the sick to get sick, but other people say I want to get sick, so they are absolutely in their houses for 4 months or 3 months, and they don't want to go out because they are very, very scared, no? So that kind of different views and feelings about the world we are living. So poets and artists we are doing that exercise of making the memories of our time.
Maya, what do you want to say?
Right now.
Someone want to talk, because we are like, I don't know. Silence is
No,
always.
es que I think we are the Simonides of our time. O sea, I
Yeah,
think
because
when the world crashes, as the floor, the ceiling of that house crashes, when we are going to put it, o sea, we are going to be there, alive or dead, on our pieces, on our
yeah.
poems, with these ideas and with these feelings about the world we live.
Yeah,
I don't know.
that art of memory, like kind of at the same time you are like creating a poem, philosophing about things, healing the people, and
Exactly.
memorizing something different. You know, like they are different. How to say, some different layers, different dimension, different universe in a way, the multiverse that they're conflating. And I think poetry have that kind of antenna, that kind of radio station, that kind of selector to configurate that connection in a way. And then maybe if we like now we have to create a new kind of festival. Did you ever receive a poem from outer space, Rocío, or not?
O sea, in my mind,
In my mind, in my soul,
no,
in my spirit, in my body.
A ver, Simone had just said a poem to the house owners, but see, exactly, to Castor and Pollux, aparte, Castor and Pollux, that they were the Gemini. Well, I don't know if you are Gemini or not. I am Gemini, so.
Martin is Gemini.
Martin is Gemini too, so.
Martin Gemini.
No, we are always in the language. We're always thinking. We are thinking and seeing things and other. Of course, it's because we are. I don't know. I am very amazed with things. No, came to kill the bastard and save the poet. Yes, yes. I know that story.
I think
That's
she listened to Rocío reading.
Rocío, ¿podrías leer alguno de tus poemas?
Sí, puedo leerles uno de los poemas.
O ruidos, o lo que quieras.
Pero sin mirarlo.
De memoria.
Ah, bueno, no, de memoria no me lo sé. De memoria no me lo sé, pero ya tenía aquí todo listo, ¿verdad?
In the meantime, I just wanted to say that poetry can also
pero
make...
lo voy a quitar de enfrente de todo para que no leer.
Bien.
El cielo, las montañas, el incandescencia del mundo, el agua y el vino exagerado. El tiempo que cae sobre todo lo que hay es desde todo tiempo. Cuando quieras que el momento que casa que conoces eso, ese universo reflejos que caen sobre la tierra y sobre la casa, y ese piso, y ese techo que ya él sabía. entre las conversaciones, entre los ruidos, entre las palabras dichas y las escondidas bajo la mano. Donde todo te llora,
Hey.
sin nada de nada, sin nada de texto, o sea, nada más así, con un poquito de efecto, ¿verdad? Pero también se los podría hacer en vivo y a todo color sin efectos, y es lo mismo un poco, ¿eh?
Especial.
Pero ese
El
ya es
efecto
otro,
especial. En realidad, yo creo que
otro
todos los que trabajamos con voz y con el cuerpo, pues nos da un poco lo
Salud,
mismo,
Rocío.
¿no?
Salud. Bravo, lindo. Salud. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
Thanks for all that they're listening and seeing this. And bueno, I just want to invite you to get to the Instagram, to @L'Observante, which is the like the processual work that I'm doing now. That it's about the bed. It's about confinement and how you can use your own confinement and your own room as a project of life and art. And from there, I will make a show, like an exhibition with those pictures. And I have some sound pieces that I have been working in. And I don't know if it will be a book. Not necessarily can be, o sea, we'll have a book. Maybe we'll have like different kind of publishing pieces, of published pieces, and sound pieces, and these pictures, no, and these photos that I have been taken. So, and for the deliveries, no, I love that the book or the poem can make this kind of deliveries of different transdisciplinary forms of being and touching the public, no, the reader. For me, it's the reader. For me, it's the reader. No, the reader is the reader of, in the ear, say the ear reader, the view reader. For me, it's like a 360% way of being life, and the reader is that. No, I think I would love to have that kind of readers.
Before you go, I think that maybe the people inside his bar of sound poetry want to ask you something. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe Martin Gavin want to ask something.
Yeah, Martin Gavins is the head of the scientific committee of all this organization, and we're very happy because this is the first time that he's with us. So it's a very big support to be with you, Martin, today. You are the chief of Martin and me, so it's great.
Oh, another one. I don't know when someone want to ask something to Rocío before she's gone, because she's like, I think she has a workshop in a few minutes.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd like to ask something. Rocío, you spoke about when you perform your text, to like leave the text part and like really embody the text and figure out where the text like be open to all of the meanings of the text. And I was wondering whether it happens to you that you're surprised yourself by what comes out, like that you that the meanings that you thought you had put in there are surpassed by something else.
The first time I made my first improvisation without text, it was on a bar, on a very underground sessions, and I as you can see, I use glasses for reading and for watching the computer. And it was very dark, and I was like trying to read it, desperate read, trying to read, and I said, well, I will not read anything. I don't read. I don't have my glasses, so I just take the pages and put it on the floor, like I drop it, and I start just like evoking, no, evocando, making an evocation for what I was saying on that poems. And that was the beginning for me for making this. No, I know what I write. I remember some lines, some verses of the poem, and then I really try to focus on myself to feel what was there on the book or what was there on that poem specifically, and I just start doing. O sea, putting the voice in service of that emotion or of that thought or of that kind of energy from the body. And what happens, I will never perform the same because sometimes I am a little bit more tired, or sometimes I am performing with another artist, with another sound artist. So for me, it's very processual, all the performance, no? And for me, I get very, I don't know, I think sometimes people told me, why you're making so different kind of voices? And there were like 2 or 3 voices there that they are not your own voice or your voice, your normal voice. For people that work with voice, they know that you don't have a normal voice. So you have a lot of voices. For me, it's like you have a legion of voices, like a demon on your inside, or a lot of demons inside of you, and you just close your eyes, or you just put your intention there on your body, on your voice, and just start that your body, all your body, from the knees or from the, I don't know, from the feet or from your ankles, whatever, it starts appearing all these kind of voices, no? And for me, the first times I was very amazed. No, there was like very like, what's happening here? And I don't abuse of drugs. So people were like, are you smoking grass a lot? Or you're doing something? And I said, no, I just drink mezcal. That's all. I just drink mezcal. And sometimes I don't drink mezcal because as now I have to make my workshop. But I think it's everything is there, that you only put your body in service of something that it's
true.
inside
I love it that you spoke of the elbows or the knees or just the physical elements of your body. I also find it like in improvisation very helpful to like go there, like consciously. When you feel, sometimes you feel you're stuck, or sometimes you feel like you are starting to reflect upon yourself while you're improvising, and that is something that you absolutely don't want to do. So like bringing it back to the body, I always find very useful to get new impulse and new information for material actually.
As you can see, let me just show you that they are waiting for me on the lab. No. I'm just saying to them that please give me just 2 minutes, no, because
maybe you can join them. You can join them to that meeting.
Yes, I would love to invite them, but I don't know how to make that from their Zoom to our Zoom. Just let me just say.
Give
you can send
address.
them the link, and they can go inside, but they will have to perform some poetry.
There are 35 guys. I have 35 guys on my workshop now.
It would be nice.
And they do very interesting things. I have architects. I have people from biologists. So I have people from different kind of Yes, it's a transdisciplinary laboratory.
Well, this is completely transdisciplinary.
Bueno, guys, thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me. And I would love to be in different sessions, hearing all of you. I have seen the videos. Yeah. Sometimes I can't get in the live sessions. And I will love to make this kind of, I don't know, like piece, multi-transdisciplinary piece all around the globe and the world, which different artists all over the world. Maybe we can do that, no? I don't know how, but we can work on it.
Gracias, Rocío.
Abrazos, Montenegro.
Abrazo, linda.
Thank you.
Oh, gracias.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Abrazos.
Muchas gracias. Muy lindo.
Now we start the extended cachondeo.
Yeah, now we can talk. When you tell me when I stop recording.
Never.
But we can keep talking about this stuff or whatever, and however you like. Well, bienvenido a algunos amigos que se están sumando por primera vez. Está Luis Bravo, Martín Gaines, Gonzalo Enrique. For those of you who don't know Martin Gavins or Gonzalo, and Federico Eisner, who was, I think, last week. Gonzalo, Federico, and Martin, well, they are sound poets, musicians. They have played in lots of projects, and they organize in Chile the Festival PM, a poetry and music festival that there has been 3 editions, right? Yeah, and it's a wonderful festival, and it's been growing each year. And also with us is Luis Bravo, a wonderful poet from Uruguay, who's been very active for a long time in sound poetry, phonetic poetry.
Hola, Luis.
He also researches about this. So it's great to have you here, guys. And the idea is that we are rotating, and each one of us will have his own session. With Martin, we're programming this cycle until 2025, so you all have time.
We have time.
Yeah.
The idea is have like every Wednesday, like it's like open a bar, you know, the bar of some poetry or a coffee. Every Wednesday at the same time, you know, with all the some poets around
in Paris,
a constellation in different part of the universe.
Yeah.
They would have to know. And now I see like an alien who arrived there, Martin Gavins. Can you say us the president of the science?
No, I just wanted to add what Felipe said about PM Festival. We've been running it since 2014, 3 editions, 2014, 16, and 18. And now we are about to launch a net label called Discos PM. So we're going to start putting poetry, music, sound poetry, and everything in between in different platforms on the web. It's not yet ready, the project, but almost. So in the coming months, you will probably hear from us either because of the launch of new what sounds, or because we are going to open for invitations or anything. So we're very happy with this project, and this is a great space to share the news with you.
We just had the date. It's for July 24. Will be the launch.
So it will be world launch of Raúl
Cecilia Vicuña
and González y los asistentes. Cecilia Vicuña.
Perhaps we could organize a special session with Cecilia and all of you to talk about this.
It's a good idea. We lost Martin.
Yeah, we lost you, Martin.
Gavins, your sound.
Now, Felipe. Now,
it would be great, as I was saying, that we can do a session about this great news.
Yeah, good idea. Yeah,
definitely. Yes, thank you very much.
And 24 is what the
24
Friday.
24th.
Yeah, we can do it
It's
on
Friday.
22 or next week.
The
The
next
following Wednesday, maybe.
Yeah, 29.
29th.
Yeah, that would be great. I'll put you in my agenda.
Okay.
So if you by the end of the month, if you look up for Discos PM on Spotify, you will probably find it. As far as we know, it will be the first net label fully dedicated to poetry and music, at least in Latin America, as far as we know. And so we're very happy and nervous about what sort of reaction and reception it will have. But we really hope to use it as a platform to continue more strongly the efforts we've made at the festival here in Santiago in order to bring much more people of the scene around the world to share and their work with audiences not usually used to that kind of work. So we will see what happens. We have signed a contract with a distributor, a world distributor in the US. So this can have a real global reach, at least. I won't say impact, but at least reach. And so we're trying to do the things in the right way to bring a good product to life.
Fantastic, Martin.
It's a plan to dominate all the world.
Of course,
yes,
of course.
Yes, sure, as ever.
That's the objective.
Yeah, something that
maybe.
Yeah.
No, I want to add that by now we have two collections, two lines, editorial lines, which are, the main one is the live PM. So González and Zurita and Cecilia Vicuña will be those performances in 2016, part of those performances in the festival. Here in Meeting, we have many of you that have participated in PM.
We're going
we have you, and you are just in the queue.
Everybody is in the queue. We are in the queue. Everyone is in the queue. We are going to go slow, though, because it's not easy. It requires a lot of work with different people, designers, and it's a new field for all of us. We're just learning how to do things in this new environment. I don't even use Spotify. I will start now to understand how it works and all that. But we believe it is important to put our work and the work of the people we admire, like all of you, in the net, in the way that the net is working now. So yeah, that's a project, that's the idea, that's the dream. We will see.
I'd like to add that
maybe we should be the queue.
I would like to add that, and I think it's very important that the project of PM is not only like the like sound poetry, only voice with some effects, which is one of the ways to work in it. But there's a lot of possibilities, from like rock groups playing along with a spoken word, from that to I don't know, electroacoustic, experimental, contemporary music. I mean, like a guy playing just with his computer, or a rock band with a poet reading. So it's a very, I like very much. It's very open. There are, I mean, between songs and I don't know, phonetic poetry, performances, also mixed with the theater, with dance. It has been growing in lots of different directions. So it's great that you guys also have been putting together people from very different parts and disciplines together. And I've been enjoying it very, very, very much.
Thank you, Felipe.
I don't know, Dirk, do you want to say something?
Gracias.
I'm sure. Dirk Ulstrang. What do you think about it?
You should come to the festival.
It sounds like it sounds like a great idea to me to bring all this together, because I really think that experimental poetry or experimental art is too much in a certain bracket still, and it was always my own aim to bring together like experimental art and pop art. Why not? To have entertaining stuff like spoken word poetry and experimental poetry and sound poetry. And I was also trying to do festivals that brought together both parts, which is actually possible. Yeah, and you can also bring together the audiences from both parts. Exactly. If you try, and you get a younger audience, because for experimental art, I was going to ask Rocio about this, about her audience in Mexico, because I was there once, and I found out it was quite a young audience. I was rather surprised by that, because like in Germany, we find that the audience for experimental art is rather not so young. So yeah, I think it's a great idea to do it this way. Yeah.
Dirk, hello.
Hello.
I was also really impressed by that, because we did the last Enclave Festival this year, just before the lockdown. It was amazing, and it was so many really young people. It was really
Yes.
and that was really lovely. And not only that they were into going to the gigs, but they were also like joining kind of like the daily workshops. So it was like lots of really young people. Some of them were like 18, like really lovely, amazing people that were really into, and also very knowledgeable, actually, of like history of sound poetry, and maybe more experimental sound and experimental poetry. So that was really exciting. Yeah.
Mexico that have that kind of mix between young nature, volcanic, telluric, force, and at the same time the digital intelligence and exploring things. There is a wise, I don't know. I mean, every time that I perform in Mexico was like, yeah, all the people of there were completely exploring and go beyond myself. I made a workshop once in Rocío organization of something, and all the poets, like 18 years old, 70 years old, they were like making movies, sounds, performance, smells, virtual reality, calling invocation from some spirits.
Maybe we should all move
at the
to
same time.
Mexico.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then when Rocío becomes the Minister of Culture in Mexico, and
She will become very soon.
with Martin Gavin, we had the project that we have like a tower in the center of Mexico, like
Yeah.
yeah, to like make poetry from there and invite all of you from, like the bar of some poetry.
Let's go for the tower.
Like just keep your Wednesday at 10 p.m. or 4 p.m. in Santiago, and we will arrive to, like, I don't know, in another supernova or an Orion, Betelgeuse. Luis Bravo, nice to meet you, guy.
To meet
I
you.
admire your work. It's so wonderful. And can you say us something?
No, I don't have anything to say. I have to say thanks, because I think this kind of encounters are doing right, and like Rocío said, I think it's a very special historical moment for poetry and for all kinds of poetry too. Not only sound poetry or performance or write poetry. I think it's something coming on. It's something that most of us and most and other people been working on this for many years, for 10 or 20 or 30 years. And I think now all that work is coming off, is on the table, is on the screen, is on the voices, and I think it's very extraordinary thing. And I just want to say thank you for each of one that been working on this a long, long time. Sometimes, you know, in isolation with small groups, with very small publisher houses, with very small, you know, bunch of people making resistance in their places. And now we are meeting all around. I'm just celebrating that. I'm listening, and I'm working on trying to understand what's going on, and I'm always learning about. I prefer learning, but thank you.
Wow.
Hortense, qu'est-ce que tu prépares? But open the mic, Hortense. You have to turn on the mic microphone.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm preparing a cheesecake.
Oh wow.
And du pesto de fenouil, comment on dit?
Fennel.
Pesto de fennel.
Fennel pasta.
I'm too much with on this period. I am always on my computer, and we so much meeting are by screen, so I can't be. I can be. I have to do something with my hand. Yeah.
Sounds delicious.
Oui, delicious.
It's like it's strange because it's like you are in my kitchens with me, and that we share a moment, a very private, private moment. Very nice. Yeah.
Can you share with us a little bit of your cheesecake?
Ah, it's just the beginning.
Okay. Wow.
But you know, I on the radio I broadcast my my emission. There is another. Non, comment on dit une émission? On dit pas une émission en anglais. On dit a broadcast.
Broadcast, yeah.
Yeah, there is a broadcast made by a French woman. The name is Domestic Noise, and it's everybody in each house who make a noise with I don't know, whatever instrument or just things of kitchen, and everybody create a mix together. And it was very nice because the last time there is mixer and comment on dit, une tondeuse pour passer, une tondeuse à gazon, or woofer, or
Grass mower.
Grass mower.
yeah, it's like the poetry of the daily life, you know. But,
They can be very musical.
Yeah, and collective gigs. I think for me, in this moment where we can't travel and we can't meet each other, we rediscover the power of internet and connection, and it makes me feel like at the beginning of I don't know, 20 years ago, when internet just begin to grow and spread, and there is a lot of net art experience and a lot of creativity, and now I think in the field of art and sound art or everything, we rediscover how to create and make things together on internet, and it's very interesting.
Can you make us a domestic noise?
A
domestic poem noise.
I have my my Hoover make a very strange sound, like a special special frequency, and I don't really see them, but I my Hoover, so it's I don't think you can listen, you can hear it, but I can the biscuit, the sound of my biscuit.
Excellent.
Or please.
Woo!
Gazal, what do you want to say us with your Apple? Is Newton stuff?
I don't want to say anything when I'm eating.
Sorry.
I can make some apple eating sound for you. Yeah. Make them closer. Let me know if you hear it.
Awesome.
Oh yeah.
Gerard Altayo, do you have a domestic sound to make to us, please?
No. I just get from another meeting, so jumping.
Andres, a banter, please.
Domestic sound?
A domestic poem sound.
I don't know if it's connected. I can do something with this.
Wow.
The hell's that?
It's just sewing machines. So where's the... The main operator of the machine will make some noise.
Benny.
Gente, los saludo. Muchas gracias. I gotta go. See you soon.
Chao, Master. Buena. Mucha fuerza.
This is the machine where Bernie makes masks for protection with this machine. So we're learning to use it to fight COVID-19.
Buena.
Another Chris, Alice iPad.
Didn't hear the sewing machine. I was hoping there'd be different sounds depending on the stitches.
Yeah, I mean, I need some fabric to make those different sounds. But,
oh yeah, that's true. You need fabric. Yeah. Okay. Maybe it can be combined with a food, you know? Somehow. Throw some lettuce.
Banana.
Yeah.
Carlos Sotorman. A domestic poem noise.
A domestic noise.
No, a domestic
How
poem
about this thing?
sound.
Woo!
I love that one.
Burn it out or eat it or
This is soothing. I've been writing reports all day, so it's kind of like a stress reducer.
Sounds great.
Oh, Martin, I have this Chinese thing. You like it? And you can play a lot of things, huh? It's a very crazy thing. It's a karaoke microphone. You can connect it to the Bluetooth and you can sing with the lights and everything. But you cannot eat it. It doesn't make any kind of feedbacks, strange things. So I cannot make noise with this thing. It's a nice one. Like it?
Sing on it.
Now you have to sing something, Gerard.
Carlos, sorry, repeat because
I was saying that now Gerard's gonna have to sing something.
maybe speak Spanish to Altayot would be better. Gerard, don't go out. We're speaking to you.
Se fue.
Gerard, no te vayas, estamos hablándote. Carlos
I'm looking for a lighter in
Sotorman.
este momento.
Gerard, ¿cómo estás?
I go one.
Todo bien. Vengo de una reunión aquí organizando la cultura de base de Barcelona. So it's,
Muy bien.
trying to make a kind of syndicate of artists and technicians, everything. So it's trying to make a kind of parallel power to the government and everything. Kind of starting a fight, anarchist kind of fight. So I saw this this thing. I think it was your post, right, Martin? That Bakunin also loves you. Was not yours? I'm not sure. No? I saw on Instagram someone post a kind of graffiti that says like something about Bakunin. So I think in Barcelona we are really getting again into the anarchist stuff, like in the Republic, but it's a tough work because not easy. When the left is in the government, you need to become again an anarchist because otherwise they just eat you up alive.
Prepare you because we arrive with Maya and Joaquin Montesfi at the end of the month. Make like a tour, completely anarchist poetry tour. Then just like to keep it good.
Be warned.
Ana María Viede, ¿podría decirnos algo, por favor? Ya, por favor. Anastasia, pardon, Anastasia, can you talk to us or show us? Your camera is too high. You have to Anastasia, tu cámara está muy arriba. Cámara. O sube las manos. No tenemos sonido.
Ah.
It's like silent paper. What is that?
Silent paper music.
What about yourself?
Hines is going out, but I'm sure that he wants to say something.
Silent paper music is just poetry, no?
Yeah.
What about yourself?
Do you know the sentence of Rumi, the poet, say like, silence is the language of gods, and all the other sounds, they are all in translations.
Yeah, was it good? Can you hear it?
That's a great one.
We have a sound.
I have these actually.
Whoa. What is that? Is that like a pig nose?
That's portable Hoover, and this was Adrian's mum's potato masher from the 60s.
Whoa.
It mashed a lot of potato.
It's a sound masher.
This is a geomancy device that I'm using to make sound.
That looks beautiful.
Seguimos solo el guión. Solo el guión.
Solo el guión.
Dance to that chop.
Now Hines is back. Maybe he has a sound. Barcelona.
What's that? What is that? What are you playing? You got a sheep in a jar. You got a jar. You got a jar of sheep there. What is that?
It's a cow.
Oh, a jar of cow. All right.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. I love these things.
Whoa! Watch out! You're gonna
There are
hurt
also
them.
roosters, I believe. You can also have a jar of rooster.
Whoa! Jar of Luna.
How about the cheesecake, Hortense? Is ready or not?
Aha.
Wouh! Ça, c'est fantastique. C'est génial.
Where are you, Hortense? You are in Angoulême? Where are you?
Yes,
Tu es où là, Hortense?
chez moi, à Angoulême. At home. And I leave in 2 days for the Atlantic Ocean.
Oh, the Atlantic people.
Does the
Yeah.
Atlantic know?
Atlantic
What?
or Atlantic?
Does the Atlantic?
Atlantic.
Tu vas où?
I just asked whether the Atlantic knew you were coming.
No, southwest of France.
Ah, okay.
Andres.
Perhaps I can just go a little in Spain. I don't know.
What do you want to join us to the tour for Barcelona?
Ah, yeah.
Hortense also.
Yeah.
We go with Magda and Joaquim to visit Andres and Gerard at the end of July, 1st of August. First days of August. Do you want to join?
Do we need to quarantine or?
No,
At the beginning of August, it's okay for me.
Yeah, the first week.
Yeah, any one of you who want to come to Barcelona in August, my flat is free, so you can use the house.
Yeah.
Woo! Way.
In July, I'm walking. I make a longer walk on mountain.
Yeah, because we go like with Joaquin Montesui and Maya to visit Eduard and Gerard the last week of July and the 1st of August. We are trying to fix it out. But if you want to join to us, we have to we have the possibility to have a card
Huh.
and same repeat. You know that review of Francis Picabia 391.
I have a car. I have a car.
Oh, you have a car also.
Yeah.
No, yeah, please take us.
Two cars.
Okay.
Yeah, I can. It's a big car.
Yeah, great.
I can take 4 people.
Wow.
La voiture perdue.
It's my spaceship.
Wow. But you can from which day? Until the
1st August.
Okay. But Maya have a show the 2 of August.
Yeah.
Then maybe between the 3 and the 7, maybe.
Maybe I'll have to see.
Have to check it out.
Okay.
Maya, sing us a tiny song.
Yeah.
That was a tiny song.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. That's amazing. I love hearing you always.
Oh, I love to hear you too. Una bella.
Luna, can you sing us a song?
Yes, sing us a song.
No way. We can make up a sound. Let's do it. One. We can make up a sound, can we?
Hello, 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 hello. Hello, 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 hello.
Hola, ¿estás ahí? Hola, 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 hola. Chao, 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 chao.
What's
Hola,
going on
hola.
here?
What's happening? ¿Qué estás haciendo? Oh, 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 oh.
Hello, 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 hello. What's going on here?
Well, that was a hello as well.
Bienvenido, Guillermo Daguero.
Buenas tardes. Buenas noches.
¿Puedes cantarnos una canción?
Estoy sin voz.
Una canción sin voz.
Buena, Guille.
Yes. James, ¿puedes cantarnos una canción, por favor? Please, a song. A little or just like a domestic sound, like Hortense. Hortense, you're so beautiful like that. Wow. So beautiful like cooking. T'es tellement jamais making en faisant ton cheesecake. Wow. Amazing.
Ça, c'est vrai, très joli.
best activity during cooking. Mm.
Ginés, can you
Ya,
hear
pero
me?
Ginés, pégate un sound.
Martin guys, you are invisible. Maybe you can communicate with us.
Pégate un sound. Carlos Soto, otro sound.
Tiens, canon comme ça, c'est génial. Il faut que tu fasses tous les performances dorénavant comme ça. Tu mets un truc, tu vas cuisiner, et tu as dans cette concentration, dans cet alignement entre ton corps et ton esprit que tu n'as jamais vu auparavant. Vraiment.
Yeah, but I listen you.
No, just saying that or sounds like she's making the cheesecake. She's making aligned her soul and spirit and body like never seen before in all my human life.
By you.
No, yeah, because sometimes just the time to. Altayo, we didn't listen now.
Whoa.
Connect your sound.
Yeah, you need to press it a lot. Can you hear it?
Yeah, that's better. Yeah.
Make harmonics. I think it's a German toy, right? It makes these harmonics on the bottom. It's really beautiful.
Cuando nosotros tenemos problemas con el peso, hay una pérdida de la noción de dónde el físico que termina el cuerpo. También hay una mala relación al cuerpo. Uno dice, uy, tengo que cuidarme el cuerpo, pero odio mi cuerpo, me carga mi cuerpo, pero lo odio. ¿Cómo voy a explicar algo que no te cae bien? Y eso también se trabaja en terapia, la relación con el cuerpo, porque uno lo tiene que cuidar desde el amor, desde el cariño, desde la nutrición. Así que, ojo con la ropa que están usando en cuarentena. Eliminar los alimentos compulsivos, sí o sí. No culpen a los niños. Los niños no van y pagan por un alimento. Eso lo compró. También otra cosa es llevar un registro de las cosas que van comiendo durante el día, si es que notan que alguien algún día que están comiendo más, empiezan a notar. Y cuando empezamos a notar, así como cuánto comí, a qué hora y la cantidad de qué cosa comí, y ya son las 4 de la tarde y vamos para arriba, todo lo que hemos comido, decimos como, uy, igual he comido ahora, como ya hay una autorregulación, hay una conciencia de lo que estoy comiendo. No vamos a alcanzar a hablar de la conciencia plena y el mindful eating, que es comer mindful, que ese es otro tema. Lo otro, siempre, cuando tengan hambre, así como digan, oh, quiero comer algo, tomen agua, tomen líquidos, tecitos, infusiones. ¿Por qué? Porque la sed y el hambre se parecen muchísimo en sensación corporal, son súper parecidos y a veces vamos a tener sed. No es hambre, es sed. Muchas veces la gente que come en la noche no es hambre, es sueño. También se parece. Nueva sesión activa. Dice.
Oui, le saxophone, j'adore. Falta la canción de Felipe.
Estamos haciendo todo el trabajo pericial, el trabajo técnico con la persona de la sección de investigación policial y una vez que concluye y otra vez estamos buenos que nosotros promocionamos también a ustedes como medio.
Aló.
Qué miedo. Inicial.
Nosotros como tenemos despliegue territorial, más
Whoa.
Antes, ahora y después.
Extending the antenna. X, 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 X,
Participando en el proceso sonoro en Chile.
Meow. Meow. Meow.
Abacavir, aciclovir, adeosovir, amprenavir, atasanavir, palavir, osecrevir, sidovivir, convivir, daclastavir, darunavir, dolutegravir, elvitegravir, entecavir, fanciclovir, fonsaprevenir, canciclovir, inmunovir, inadivir, determinovir, delfinavir, norvir, olcertamivir, penciclovir, peramivir, valtegravir.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's the 5% of that noise is the Big Bang. The 5% of that kind of noise, and that heal all the tinnitus, earworms.
The big payo.
there is a last sentence. There is no language. Just communicate with sounds, image, feelings.
I love this CD.
From the Big Bang. The background noise of the universe that kill all the tinnitus and the earworms. My first, my first aid, pharmacy at the old TV. Like that, I can heal all my friends musicians who have tinnitus, something like that. That is the new, the new medicine. You have a little TV, a little guitar with us. No,
I remember when I was little, just watching at this when the TV program ends, just with this.
That is the way noise of the TV. It brings us the 5 between the 5 and the 10% of that coming from the beginning of the universe and beyond, because it's a background noise that we receive. It was that.
What is this?
Gerard, what's your sound?
No, the Egyptian Sufis that we recorded in Cairo.
How's the cheesecake going, Hortense?
Dans le four.
Ah, super.
I'm tired.
Tu viens avec nous la première semaine d'août?
Yeah.
Barcelone? Ça serait super.
C'est cool.
Non, mais confirme-le tout de suite.
Pour être sûr d'être.
Non, mais c'est entre les 28 et les 2, entre les 3 et les 7.
Et Martin, est-ce que tu pourrais demander en anglais à tout le monde, je suis trop fatiguée pour parler anglais, si tout le monde pouvait envoyer son site web sur la discussion pour un peu plus pouvoir aller voir le travail de chacun?
Hortense, say if each one of us can send to everybody the website or your work, because she wants to know what do you do in poetry, and if each one of us sent to the group.
Maybe you won't like our work and you'll stop speaking with us, but well, that's the risk. Yeah,
No, Andres and Matt can send him his website.
What? I don't understand.
Non, parce que Andrés, il est toujours un peu hors technologie. y la pour ça, je rigole, tu vois. C'est le bébé qui va voir les sites internet. Non, say if we can maybe each of us like send our name and our website or a web sign or a web sound or a web
O cualquier
bridge.
weá también. Hueveo que tenemos.
Anyway, we make a tour with Hortense, Joaquim Montes arriving now. Could be great if you join us. We'll visit Barcelona. The same travel that Francis Picabia made, you know, for the review 391. He drive his car in the beginning of 20th century and he take the jump or Breton, somewhere like that, and going to Barcelona. And during the travel, they wrote the review and then they published it in Barcelona.
But it's going to be the same. You come to Barcelona, we go to the Automatica and we print some artwork.
Yeah, of course.
Francis Picabia. I mean, I expect you just to go there and make some letterpress poetry.
Yeah, of course. That's good. Yeah. We will go like we make 3 days. One in the countryside, one in the Pope in the friend of Eduard studio, and another in the Automatica. Then everyone from this group that come from us will start from 28th of July from Paris. We'll arrive to Barcelona, and then we will never know. Maybe we have a scale in the Jupiter's moon, Ganymedes. But yeah, that's more secret. Sorry, Gerard.
But it's the dates already fixed because I'm out of Barcelona in the 1st of August.
If you can stay a little bit more in the first week of August, could be great because I think Maya, it could be great between the 28th and the 2 of August, 20th July and 12th.
Yes, I have to be back on the 2nd.
Yeah, and
I can call until the 2, but you know it because you was there. So you know the letterpress thing, it takes a long time. So it's not like 5 minutes or 10 minutes. But if you have 2 days, like 1 or 2 of August, that will be really nice too.
yeah, but we didn't still fix because Joaquim maybe he cannot at the end of July, at the beginning of August. And anyway, we'll make it in between the 28th of July and the 7th of August. Then if you like can stay like 4 or 5 days more in August, could be great.
Yeah, but I have my kid and he is pressing there to go to holidays, you know. So it's like
We are the holidays.
Yeah, I know. I mean,
He's
he
free.
will be there correcting your piece, you know, like you make that wrong. You know? Yeah, he's worse than me.
That, are you going? Put your microphone, Gazal.
Yeah, I just wanted to say bye, everyone. Good night.
Bye.
Gazal.
Bye, Gazal. Los
Bye,
saludos.
Gazal.
Can you sing us a lullaby, please, before you go? Just a little one, just to feel your vibration of your voice.
And then we all go. Just a mixed lullaby from everyone. No?
Okay, let's do it.
Start it. That was a lullaby.
Good night, Gazelle.
Night.
Bonne nuit à tous. Buenas noches. Ciao.
Mm.